If you still believe that Lego is some kind of gentle, creative angel protecting the innocence of childhood, let me be the first to tell you that your brain has been completely stuffed with those colorful plastic bricks. Do not be fooled by that Nordic-style false kindness. In the eyes of AutoArchives, Lego is not a toy company. It is a drug lord trafficking in high-priced recycled crude oil. It takes plastic waste that costs less than a few pennies, wraps it in nostalgia, and sells it back to grown adults who should know better. Today, we are tearing off that public relations mask covered in the word imagination. We're going to look at how this nearly bankrupt Danish zombie survived by manipulating your need to collect and build a Ponzi scheme in the secondary market that is crazier than gold. Let me be clear about what Lego actually is. Acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. ABS plastic. That is the chemical name for the material inside every single brick you have ever touched. It is petroleum. It is oil. It is a non-biodegradable, environmentally disastrous piece of industrial waste that will sit in a landfill for centuries after you are dead. Lego calls it quality. I call it garbage dressed up as legacy. The company wants you to believe that those bricks represent infinite possibilities. The only thing they represent is the infinite possibility that you will max out your credit card buying sets you will build once, display for a month, and then shove into a closet. If you have ever bought a Lego set as an adult and felt a little guilty about spending $200 on plastic, type "I am not fake" in the comments. Let me see how many of you have been intimidated by Lego's patent hammer. Chapter 2. Theft as a Foundation. Let me tell you about the original sin of Lego. The one that the official history books conveniently leave out. In 1947, Ole Kirk Christensen, the founder of Lego, bought a plastic injection molding machine. He was a carpenter by trade. He made wooden toys. He had no idea what to do with this machine. So he did what all desperate businessmen do when they have no original ideas. He looked around for someone else's idea to steal. He found it in the Kitacraft self-locking building bricks, designed by a British genius named Hilary Page. Page had patented the design. He had built the prototype. He had done all the work. And Christensen simply copied it. He made a few tiny changes, called it the automatic binding brick, and started selling it as his own invention. Lego did not invent the interlocking brick. It stole it. The company that lectures the world about creativity and originality built its entire empire on the corpse of a forgotten British inventor who died broke and unacknowledged. Hilary Page committed suicide in 1957. Do you want to know why he killed himself? Probably not because of Lego alone. But it is impossible to deny that the man who created the modern building brick watched a Danish carpenter take his idea, trademark it, and become a billionaire while his own name was erased from history. Lego later bought the rights to the Kitacraft patent for a pittance. They did it quietly. They did it without fanfare. They did it because they knew that if anyone looked too closely at their origin story, the whole myth would fall apart. Every great brand has a dirty beginning. Nike sold shoes made in sweatshops. Apple stole the graphical user interface from Xerox. And Lego stole the brick that made it famous. The difference is that Lego still pretends to be the good guy. It is not. It is a thief that got away with the crime and then used the legal system to make sure no one else could ever do the same thing. The most successful invention in Lego's history was not the brick. It was learning how to turn someone else's creativity into their own legacy. Chapter 3. The Price of Arrogance. Now let me take you to the 1990s, the decade when Lego almost died. And the reason it almost died is not what the business school case studies tell you. They will tell you that video games killed Lego, that children stopped wanting physical toys, that the world changed and Lego could not keep up. That is a lie. It is a convenient excuse invented by executives who did not want to admit that they had lost their minds. The real reason Lego almost died is because it became insanely arrogant. It thought it was God. It thought it could do anything. It thought the Lego brand was so powerful that people would buy anything with the logo on it. So Lego sold everything: clothing, jewelry, watches, video games, theme parks, board games, action figures. It even tried to sell Lego-branded diapers. Yes, diapers. The company that was supposed to be about creativity and imagination decided that what the world really needed was a plastic brick logo on a piece of fabric designed to catch human waste. The executives who made these decisions were not thinking about children. They were not thinking about creativity. They were thinking about licensing fees. They were thinking about brand extensions. They were thinking about quarterly earnings reports. And in the process, they forgot how to make good bricks. The quality of the actual product collapsed. The clutch power, the thing that makes Lego bricks stick together, failed. Colors mismatched. Sets were overpriced and underdesigned. Customers noticed. They stopped buying. And by 2003, Lego was drowning in debt. The company was on the verge of bankruptcy. It was losing millions of dollars every single day. The banks were calling in their loans. The factories were running at half capacity. And the executives who had driven the company into the ground were giving themselves bonuses. This is not a story of a company that was killed by external forces. It is a story of a company that committed slow suicide through stupidity and arrogance. When a toy company starts telling you how to dress, how to decorate your house, what movies to watch, and what diapers to put on your baby, it is already in the trash can of history. Lego pulled back from the edge, but only because a new leader came in and made the most cynical, brilliant, and evil decision in the company's history. Chapter 4: The Digital Farm. Jürgen Vig Knudstorp took over as Chief Executive Officer in 2004. The business press loves to tell the story of how he saved Lego by returning to the core product. That is not what happened. Knudstorp did not save Lego by making better bricks. He saved Lego by learning how to exploit its own customers more efficiently than anyone had ever done before. His secret weapon was a platform called Lego Ideas. The official story is that Lego Ideas is a celebration of fan creativity, a place where anyone can submit a design, and if it gets enough votes, Lego will turn it into a real set. The fan creator gets a small percentage of the royalties and the eternal gratitude of the Lego community. Sounds wonderful, does it not? Let me explain what Lego Ideas actually is. It is a mechanism for transferring the cost of research and development from a multi-billion-dollar corporation to the desperate, unpaid labor of its most loyal customers. You come up with the idea. You design the model. You buy the bricks to prototype it. You take the photos. You write the description. You run the social media campaign to get votes. You do all the work. And if your idea is successful, Lego takes it, manufactures it, markets it, distributes it, and keeps 99% of the profit. You get 1%. Lego calls this co-creation. I call it digital serfdom. It is the same logic that every tech giant uses to exploit its users. Uber does not own cars. Airbnb does not own hotels. Facebook does not own content. And Lego does not own its best ideas. Its fans do. The adult fans of Lego, the AFOLs, are the most passionate, talented, and exploitable workforce in the history of the toy industry. They spend thousands of dollars on Lego. They spend hundreds of hours building and designing. They write blogs. They make YouTube videos. They run conventions. They recruit new customers for free. And Lego sits back, collects the money, and pats itself on the back for being a community-driven company. This is not a community. It is a plantation. And the best part is that the workers pay for the privilege of being exploited. They buy the bricks they use to design the sets that Lego then sells back to them at a huge markup. If this logic sounds familiar, it is because every internet giant does the same thing. They call it engagement. I call it theft. Subscribe to AutoArchives right now if you want to stay awake while the vampires drain your brain. Because the only way to beat this system is to understand how it works. Chapter 5: The Parasite. Lego likes to call itself a universal sauce, a platform that can combine with any intellectual property to create something delicious. Ketchup for your fries, butter for your bread, a companion to every story. That is the marketing pitch. Here is the truth. Lego is not ketchup. Lego is a parasite. It has lost the ability to tell its own stories, so it survives by sucking the blood out of other people's stories. In 1999, Lego made a deal with George Lucas. Star Wars Lego. It was a gamble. The company was desperate. And it worked. Star Wars fans bought the sets. They built the Millennium Falcon. They displayed it on their shelves. And Lego learned a dangerous lesson. Why bother inventing new worlds when you can just rent someone else's? Since then, Lego has become a vampire, latched onto the neck of every successful movie franchise in Hollywood. Harry Potter, Marvel, DC, Jurassic World, Indiana Jones. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Lord of the Rings. The list goes on and on. Lego no longer needs to be creative. It just needs to write a check to Disney or Warner Brothers or Universal and then stamp their logo on a box of plastic bricks. The sets sell themselves because the fans of those movies buy anything with the logo. This is not business strategy. This is rent-seeking. This is what happens when a company gives up on art and commits fully to commerce. And the result is that Lego is now a hollow shell. It is a marketing company that happens to manufacture plastic. It does not create culture. It consumes culture. It does not inspire imagination. It repackages other people's imagination and sells it back to you at a 500% markup. Why does a Lego set cost $200? Not because the plastic is expensive, not because the manufacturing is complicated, because half of that money goes to Disney for the right to put Darth Vader on the box. You are not paying for bricks. You are paying for the privilege of participating in someone else's fantasy. Lego is not in the toy business. It is in the monument business. It builds plastic tombstones for movies that are already dead. The Star Wars sequel trilogy was terrible. Nobody remembers it. But the Lego sets are still on shelves, memorializing a failure. That is not creativity. That is necromancy. Chapter 6. The Prison of Instructions. Now I want to ask you a question. A real question. Does Lego actually teach you to be creative? Think about it. Look at a modern Lego set. Open the box. Inside, you will find not just bricks, but a manual. A thick, heavy, meticulously detailed manual with hundreds of pages of step-by-step instructions. You are told exactly where to put every single brick. In what order? At what angle? With what pressure? You do not build. You assemble. You do not create. You comply. Lego has perfected the art of turning creativity into obedience. The message is clear. Do not think. Just follow the instructions. If you follow the instructions perfectly, you will produce a result that looks exactly like the picture on the box. A perfect replica. A beautiful copy. A plastic statue of someone else's idea. And when you are done, what have you actually accomplished? You have proven that you can follow orders. You have demonstrated that you are good at obeying. You have spent hours of your life turning your brain off and your hands on. That is not creativity. That is the opposite of creativity. That is what the factory worker does on the assembly line. That is what the soldier does in boot camp. That is what the clerk does in the office. Lego has become a training ground for compliance. It teaches children to value instruction over invention. It teaches adults to find comfort in predictability. It sells the illusion of creativity while delivering the reality of conformity. The Lego of today is a million miles away from the open-ended, anything-goes toy of the 1970s and 1980s. Back then, the boxes showed a single picture and a simple promise. You could build anything. Now the boxes show 20 different angles, a parts list, and a warning not to mix sets. The shift is not accidental. It is the inevitable result of a company that learned that the most profitable customer is not the creative one, but the compulsive one. The customer who needs every set. The customer who organizes by color and part number. The customer who treats Lego like a collection to be completed, not a tool to be used. This is not a toy company. It is a religion. And like all religions, it demands obedience, collects tithes, and punishes heresy. Let me end with a cold, hard truth. The Lego empire is built on the ruins of human imagination. The more Lego sells, the less creative the world becomes. Because every dollar spent on a licensed Star Wars set is a dollar not spent on building something new. Every hour spent following instructions is an hour not spent making mistakes and learning from them. Every shelf filled with plastic perfect replicas is a shelf not filled with crooked, ugly, wonderful things that you built with your own hands. Lego has convinced us that creativity is expensive, complicated, and best left to professionals. That is a lie. Creativity is free. It is messy. It is easy. And it is the one thing that Lego cannot sell you. If you have watched this video and suddenly felt empty looking at that pile of expensive plastic bricks in your closet, do not worry. That is not depression. That is clarity. That is your brain finally waking up from a long, expensive, colorful dream. In the comments, leave the one reason you want to quit Lego. The one set that broke your back. The one moment you realized you were collecting plastic instead of living a life. The most honest answer will win nothing but the satisfaction of being right. This is AutoArchives. We do not sell plastic. We do not sell nostalgia. We do not sell dreams. We sell the truth, and the truth is that you do not need a $1,000 box of petroleum to build something beautiful. You need your hands. You need your brain. And you need to unsubscribe from the cult of the brick. If you are still not convinced, keep buying. Keep building. Keep following instructions. The algorithm will be here waiting for you when you finally wake up. Subscribe, or do not. The choice is the only thing that is still yours.